Hi, Maria. Thank you so much for your post. Really solid information around the correlation coefficient. So, as I was thinking about what we've been reading and learning and what you brought up in your post, it also made me think about not only being able as student researchers or long-term researchers potentially, or really even as just individuals who are going to come across scientific information, knowing and understanding not only the direction in terms of positive and negative correlations, but also recognizing strength. There can be a lot of situations where I believe if an individual doesn't know or understand the difference between a low correlation versus a moderate or high correlation, that also can lead to misinterpreting the data. And not misinterpreting in the sense of it shows correlation, but perhaps giving it more, I guess, substantial value than it may adequately reflect, because there could be other opposing studies that show weaker correlation or none at all. And so really shows us kind of the importance of taking that situation that we're working through and looking at various sources of research and not taking one study as truth. That makes me think of that's where when we see comparative analysis come in, and that allows us to kind of look at different tests of significance and the way that certain variables have been studied, and being able to see this is why it's important to have a strong review of the literature. Another piece that came to mind is there's been ongoing debate about the SAT. I have two students who are in college, a freshman and a junior, and they kind of missed the boat to all of the COVID craziness. But basically, we are now in a situation that because schools were let out early, students weren't able to complete the school year. A lot of them weren't able to take the SAT, or schools are going to become SAT neutral. Some of them, you get to kind of choose whether or not or SAT optional is what they're calling it. But what I'm getting to is there's been long going debate on how much the SAT, ACT, and similar tests, GRE, are actually predictive and show a direct correlation to how well a student will do in college. There's a large spread of research that also shows that there are many situations where a student does poorly on the SAT and the ACT. We won't get into all the different reasons why that's possible, and yet go on to college and do extremely well. Thankfully, that's something that I feel has begun to be more balanced, and it's not seen as the only correlated and predictive outcome. But I'm also interested to see where research in that area goes over the next few years, because this graduating class, or potentially or these incoming freshmen, or potentially even those next year, are going to be in a different boat in terms of standardized testing and how much data is there. So great insight, and just sharing some thoughts that came to mind with me as I kind of think about correlation, looking at the direction, looking at the strength, and how we can apply that into everyday life, and the understanding or the importance of understanding all of those different levels. Have a great one.